Good morning everybody, welcome back to my garage. I'm ex-human race. Name of my channel, if you're interested, is Essential Garage Gym Reviews, because the equipment I have, let's face it, is essential. I mean, everybody needs a cambered bar there, everybody needs one of them, totally essential. Right, here's what we're going to be talking about today. This is a Rogue RM6. Now the 6 means it's got 6 posts. I'm guessing that RM stands for Rogue Monster. That's what I'm guessing, could be wrong. Anyway, it's the Rogue Monster rack. It's got 6 posts, 3 on either side, and this one is 100 inches tall. I went with 100 inches tall because my garage ceiling's about 9 feet. Maybe a bit more, perhaps a bit more. The other reason is I wanted to be able to do pull-ups, because I like pull-ups, without touching the ground, so I went with 100 inch. The other thing is, from time to time, I wanted to be able to press, overhead press inside the rack. Now, what this is it's 3 inch by 3 inch, and it's got these 1 inch holes everywhere. It's got them in the front, it's got them in the back, it's got them in the sides, and it's got these numbers. And these numbers can be really helpful to where you put your J-cups. As I said, I went with the 6 posts because I wanted something that was stable, but at the back I've got these pegs, these pins, and I wanted to be able to load weights so I could keep my weights out of the way. Now, if you do buy a Rogue Monster rack, get the 6 post. Don't bother with the 4 post. The 4 post, no. Get a 6 post. But definitely, if you notice, I've got a rear cross member at the top and a rear cross member at the bottom. Get the rear cross members, it makes the rack a lot more stable. The other thing I bought was, I actually bought 4 pull-up bars. Don't really need 4 pull-up bars, I really wanted 2, but the reason I've got 4 is I've got 3 different sizes. I've got 2 that are 1 1/4 inch, I've got 1 that's almost 2 inch, and I've got this one at the front which is 1 inch. Which tends to be, this one at the front tends to be the one that people use. They like the narrower grip. Now, by having 4 pull-up bars and a rear cross member at the top, I've got all of these ways to pull the rack in together at the top and 1 way at the bottom, so it makes it really quite stable. Now, some of you are wondering, could you use this in a commercial gym? The answer is yes, you could. If it was me though, I would go with a rack that was simpler. I would go with a rack that probably doesn't have as many holes. I would go with a more simple rack. But yeah, you absolutely could use this in a college, in a commercial gym, in a school weight room. Yeah, you could use it fine. It'd have plenty of strength. Now if you notice, I'll just come round to the side. If you notice, and Carson's going to move forward now, he's going to come towards me. If you notice, I went with the safety straps. I really like them. You can adjust them lots of different ways. Now if you're squatting, and I've got to be honest, I tend to squat outside the rack. I usually squat outside the rack. You know, I'm in my 50s, I don't squat heavy these days. I rarely get above 400 pounds. And if I'm doing 400 pounds, I'm doing quite a lot of repetitions. So I don't squat heavy anymore. But these safety straps, you can adjust them. And what I recommend you do, if you're squatting or bench pressing, have the ones at the front slightly higher than the ones at the back. That way if you get into trouble squatting, the weight goes backwards. If you get into trouble bench pressing, the weight goes away from your face, away from your throat, away from your neck, and towards your chest. So have the safety straps, and that's the beauty of the safety straps. You can have them slightly higher at the front or the back, whichever you want. So these work really well. Now it comes with a set of J-hooks. These ones I think are 2 inch, really strong, really secure. And then I've got another set of J-hooks at the back. If you buy one of these racks, do yourself a favour and buy 2 extra sets. So you'll have 1 set that comes with it, buy yourself 2 extra sets. It works really, really well if you do that. Now, I've just got this kind of on here for demonstration. This is Elite FTS bar. It's called the SS Yoke bar. It's a squat bar, and it's a safety squat bar. Really comfortable, works really well. In fact, it's my favourite safety squat bar that I've used so far. And yeah, I do have the Kabuki Strength Transformer bar. Carson's just going to pan around and show you the Kabuki Strength bar that's in there. This is the Kabuki one. This is the Transformer bar. it's okay, it's good. Some of my clients like it. I prefer this one. So it's an excellent rack. As I said, hanging off it, I've got my endless rope by Torque Fitness. I've got my weights. Got a load of over here in the back. I've got a lot of they're bands. They're rubber bands, resistance bands, and you can use them for all kinds of exercise. I've got to be honest, I enjoy using them. Carson's going to stop the video in a moment when I tell him to. So these go by different names. Some people call them power racks, some people call them squat cages, some people even call them safety cages and safety racks, but they're a power rack. Probably the safest way yet that people have found to train, with the exception of something I invented, which is far safer than this and a lot more practical. But that's for another video. It's just something, it's not here now, it's just something I invented, which is the safest way to train and probably the most flexible. So they're very safe, they go by different names. Exercises you can do, well, pull-ups, dips, bench presses, rack pulls, squats. Squats is probably the ones. Lots of different partial exercises and exercises where you're only doing limited movements. Basically, you can do so many exercises on a power rack, you're limited only by your imagination. This is, with the exception of a barbell and weights, this is probably the most versatile piece of equipment in the gym. If you go with a bigger rack, you can do squats and deadlifts and bench presses and presses, bent over rows, inside the rack. So it leaves you room outside the rack to do other things. So again, very stable, very safe. What would I give it? Do you know, I'd give it 8 out of 10, which is quite good for me. I'd definitely give it 8 out of 10. Now, why didn't it get 9 out of 10? Well, I've got to be honest. Rogue, when they sent it short of these nuts and bolts, and there were quite a few short. In fact, it cost me, it was either $53 or $58 to buy a whole load of nuts and bolts, because Rogue sent it and it was short of nuts and bolts. So if you'd have sent it with enough nuts and bolts, I'd give you a 9 out of 10. Like I said, it's excellent. I like the red colour, although the red colour looks a lot better outside in the sunlight than it does in here. It looks a lot better, so I went with the dark red. Again, definitely go with the extra pull-up bars, and definitely go with extra sets of J hooks. It's a lot more flexible. I'm going to take this down now. This bar weighs 65 pounds, so we're just going to take it down. And what I'm going to put in really quickly is, I'm going to take this off. You just basically slide them off like that. And I'm going to go and get my Rogue Matador. That's this thing. So kind of pull the pin out, works really easily. And then I'm going to set this at a fairly good height, because when I do dips, I don't like having my legs bent. I don't like curling my legs up behind me. So you get hold of it, you put it in there, find a hole, I think that's it, and push it through. Make sure it's gone all the way through. That's probably a bit too high, but in fact that's far too high, but you get the impression. So if you did want to do dips up there, I'm not saying anybody ever would, but if you wanted to do dips up there, what you could do is, mind you, I suppose if you're like 7 foot plenty you could. So find something like a bench and simply step onto the bench, and then just simply step up and do dips. My record, personal record, is 32. Not recently, did 32 dips. So you can do dips off it, pull-ups. This is the Rogue Matador. I would give this a 10 out of 10. I really would. Very stable, very secure, but don't put it at this height. And to adjust it, all you simply do is take the weight, pull the pin out, and then set it at a more sensible, probably even lower than that. If I can get it to go all the way. Yeah, that's about right. So it's in. Might have to finagle it a bit. In again. And then from there, a bit more sensible height. Again, use something to step up on. Or just push yourself up. Up and down. So it works really well. You can use it for dips, and I usually probably one lower than that. And you can dip off the monster bench, but you're better dipping off here. So it works really well. Would I recommend you buy this? Yeah, for a home gym, garage gym. Absolutely excellent. Really is. So Carson, if you would stop the video there, please.